Welcome to another Saturday night and taking it to the nub. I'm your host, Boston Jimmie. And tonight I have somebody I met most recently, and his name is Ali Howell. Now, Ali is the owner of something called Brothers Smokin Stogies, which, by the way, is a cigar company. He's co-owned with his wife, and hopefully we'll have his wife on too. But let me bring in Ali, and let's get this show rolling. Ali,
Yes, sir.
you did bring your wife. Awesome.
Yes,
I got both owners of the company in the room.
a big surprise, and I'm glad she was here.
What are you smoking tonight?
Tonight, I'm smoking our flagship cigar, Strength and Respect. It was my first baby, and still one of my personal favorites.
All right. I'm smoking a Spirit Decor.
Oh, nice.
Right?
Yeah.
And you might want to tell me a little bit about what I'm smoking, but what is your wife smoking?
She's actually smoking one of our flavored cigars.
Okay.
Yeah, it's our affordable flavored cigars. It's actually in partnership with Ismail Olivan, which you're already familiar with Ish.
That's correct. Your cigars are made by Ish, right?
Exactly. So this
Great
is one
guy to have cigars with.
Oh yeah, definitely, without a doubt. So she's smoking the one with cognac.
Oh,
Yeah. So we don't, you got a lot of flavored cigars that are very strong. This with the flavored tobacco, it's got that nice premium tobacco in it with a nice flavor to it. So it's not overwhelming the tobacco. It's an easy smoke, even because I'm not a flavor guy, but I do smoke those. Those are actually pretty decent and they're good. People love them.
We sold a lot of these at the Cigar Heritage Festival.
Yeah.
Flavored cigars are a big seller. Company like Drew Estate with acid and stuff would, not be who they are if it wasn't for that acid line in the beginning. Many other brands out there have been very successful. Rocky Patel has been very successful with his Javas.
Right.
Nothing wrong with it.
And I always say, don't make a cigar don't make just the cigars you like, but think about your customers as well. So to reach out to more possible future customers, fans of BSS cigars, why not give them some things that they would enjoy?
Absolutely. Let them expand themselves a little. And, sometimes I like to have like a Cuba, but I like to have that like late at night sometimes. It's kind of like a dessert cigar when your palate is just, if you smoke like 4 cigars in a day, your palate's eventually just getting burned a little bit. It's nice to sit back and hit parts of your palate that you're not normally tasting.
Exactly.
Smoking tobacco all that time.
Exactly. But when it comes to the Spirit Decor, it's a Corona 42x6. That's a lot of people's favorites. Actually, one of our sons, that's one of his favorites. Here's the thing with Ish. I have to praise Ish because number one, he's a mad scientist when it comes to tobacco. And even though I know my stuff, my knowledge cannot compare to his. So when I designed it, I come up and I sit with him and we talk in detail about what I'm trying to get across to the customer, what I want them to experience, what I want to experience. Because I don't call it a smoke. I call our cigars a journey. And this man could take what I've described, what I'm looking for, and literally create that taste that I have up here. So that's definitely one that I pride myself on because it goes well with most drinks. And I actually realized it's almost like a palate cleanser. So you're drinking something really strong, and then you follow a couple of puffs with the Spirit Decor, it kind of cleans the palate a little bit, and you just have a more enjoyment with your drink.
So I'm getting a little bit of sweetness in the beginning. Obviously had a little bit of pepperiness in the front.
Yeah.
Get this little sweetness. There's Sumatra in this.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now it's trying to think of everything that's in there. It's the Ligero, Viso Criollo, Seco Criollo 98. The band, the rapper is a San Andreas, and the binder, Oldor Dominican.
Okay. All right. Because you're making these in the Dominican,
Yes,
and every Dominican cigar has to have some Dominican leaf in it
exactly.
before it gets out of the country. And I was so nice enough when you did. I'm glad you said smoke this one, because I'm kind of pairing it with the blue goes with the blue. Color
That's
coordinated,
perfect.
right? Taekwondo. Yeah.
Oh man,
Don't put your pinky out when your partner in sparring throws a kick.
exactly,
I
exactly.
should know that, but I didn't.
But you'll never forget from here on.
You don't. You do
Yeah.
remember things. Like when I got my ribs broken years ago when I was younger, I
Mm,
always now know you you don't go like this. You're like
you
this.
tuck it in. Yeah,
You're always protecting that spot.
definitely, definitely.
So, Brothers Smoking Stogies, how did you come up with this name?
Okay.
And how long was your journey in cigars before you founded this company?
Good question. I actually started smoking when I was 17. I joined the Army at 17, and that's where the tradition kind of picked up. So whenever, the unit we were around and we were back in the barracks, at home, whatever, we got into the tradition of basically sitting around in a circle and we would start smoking cigars. To this day, I couldn't even tell you what brand or what we smoked. All I know, they were Churchills. But that's where my first experience with cigars came in. And then whenever we would lose a brother, when we would get back to smoke, we would all light one cigar and we would pass that cigar around in remembrance. And then we would let it sit out and die. And that's actually how I learned about letting a cigar die out. And then we would finish off our own cigars. So that's kind of where the symbol comes in with the circle, and where the brotherhood comes in, where my first experience was with my brothers in arms. So it kind of expanded from there, because once I got out of the military, I began to, start going to lounges, and I realized something phenomenal about the cigar culture, that no matter who you are, male, female, black, white, Hispanic, whatever your political belief, all that is set aside at the door, and everybody is equal. And then I realized this is a brotherhood. So that's kind of where the name came about, and the whole circle wrapped around it, where we're one.
We are definitely a brother and sisterhood of the leaf. We call ourselves that. It's not just something that we do. We actually reflect that. And I agree, sitting down in a lounge, sitting on virtual. I do a lot of virtual things these days, ever since the pandemic. And it's special. I come out here at night after I've done everything. I put articles out, everything's finished. I sit back, fire up a cigar, get a drink, and just go find a Zoom to get on. Just like as if you're walking into a lounge, and we just have this great conversation.
Yeah, it's awesome.
And you don't want it to go political, and you don't want it to go religious. The old adage, when you walk into a bar, you don't talk religion and politics.
Right.
Talk sports.
Exactly. Talk about anything but.
Talk about how stupid Boston Jimmie was for getting his finger broken.
Yeah. But to your other question, we're young. We've only been around for about a year and 4 months. We got the idea. It's how I actually met Ish. Ish was introduced to me through my brother. They were on an online herf and they met. So my brother was telling me about this really cool guy. You got to meet him. And when we found out he lives 4 hours away from us, and we were like, hey, I want to go take a trip. Let's go meet Ish. And honestly, when we first met face to face, it wasn't like meeting a new person. It was more like seeing an old friend I haven't seen in a long time, and the dude is all, well, you've met him. He's an awesome
it's the
guy.
cigarette smoking cigar guy.
and he's real, he's straight up, and you got to respect that. And believe it or not, the reason why my wife is my partner is she's the one who kind of put it in my head when I was like, oh man, he makes cigars. I mean, he makes cigars. And I'm like, I can have him make personal cigars for me. I figured it'll be like kind of a baller move. When people come over, it's like, where can I get these? You can only get them here.
Yeah.
So the wife sat there and said, you have a good palate. You know what you're doing. Why don't you take the cigars and share them with the world? And I'm like, why not? So it wasn't even in my head at that time to even start it, because she says, you've been smoking cigars longer than I've known you. Why not take it to the next level? So that's pretty much how it started.
So we didn't catch your bride's name.
Oh, I am so sorry. To the audience, this is my beautiful wife, Heather.
Hello, Heather.
She's the better half of the organization.
So, so Heather, did you smoke cigars before you knew Ali?
No, I am new to all of this. So I am the vaping cigar smoker now because I vape. And when I'm not vaping, I'll do cigars. So I'm enjoying the journey and learning about them, and have the best business partner I could ever have. So it's been a good time.
That's how it should be. Unfortunately, my wife, she doesn't smoke. She's got asthma and other stuff, but
Yeah.
she's not averse to me doing this, obviously, because she supports what I do.
Right.
So it's good to have that partner doing it. Plus, she fixes my site whenever it goes down because she does all the IT work. I need her around on my whole. I mean, I could do it if I wanted to, but she designed it and she knows all the ins and outs of what goes wrong with it.
We put ours together. Well, I put ours together in a very long weekend, so it's still in its infancy state, and I'm learning as we go. Just as I'm learning about cigars, but it's been fun, and it's been a great journey. And every day is something new, so it's fun.
Let's bring that site up. Let's actually take a look at that for a second.
All right.
Okay. So this is your site. So it's bsscigars.com, Brothers Smokin Stogies. So bsscigars.com, everybody. It's got a number of menus here. So you could buy cigars right from their site. So you could shop their cigars here. Right. So we've got various different packages and different types of cigars, different blends. You can traverse through that. This kind of just lays out similar, better than a Cuban. So better than a Cuban is this special thing that you have called BTC. Talk to me about BTC.
All right. Well, believe it or not, that's another one that the wife came up with. So instead of having once the cigars are finished in the DR, instead of having them delivered to the house, we have them delivered to Ish because he gives us an opportunity to go visit and hang out with him and his wife. So one night before we were going to go pick up an order, the wife was like, what's better than a Cuban? So, and I do apologize to the audience if anybody's offended. And I said, our cigars. So she goes, no. Is there a Cuban like better than any other Cuban? So I was giving some names and stuff like that. And she goes, well, we have customers who stop smoking those to smoke our cigars. So is there anything better? And then she just yells, BTC. And I went, what the hell are you talking about? And she goes, better than Cuban. Let's create a cigar called Better Than Cuban. So I said, well, we're going to see Ish tomorrow. When we get down there, we'll talk to him about it. So we go down, and as soon as we get in, we get comfortable. He brings it in. There's my baby. And he goes, and we started collaborating. He brings out this beautiful Cuban cigar from what he rolls for himself. And I started smoking it, and I'm like, oh my God, this is phenomenal. So the wife holds it up, and she goes, BTC? And then she goes, yeah. So the wife says, no, I'm asking, is this BTC? And he goes, it is. So that's another one that Ish and we collaborate on. And that's how BTC started. And it's so funny though, because when I present it to people are always extremely like, yeah, whatever. But the minute they taste it, It's a game changer.
And they come back and say, this was
It's better than Cuban. Yeah.
Really? Well,
Yes.
well, I'm going to look forward to smoking that cigar and reviewing
Yes.
it.
You're going to enjoy it. You're going to
Yeah.
enjoy it a lot.
I'll give you my inputs on it for sure.
Please do.
Let me take a moment here. We'll do the advertisement right here. We're going to throw out who our sponsors are. That way, it opens up time for us to dig deeper into this because I'm loving the journey I'm hearing, and I want to hear more about your journey and some of your experiences in that journey.
Okay.
So let me just cue this up, and we are going to set up the avatar. So today's show. Oh,
Introducing Blackened Cigars, M81 by Drew Estate. A dark, bold, and unapologetic cigar collaboration.
My job is all about taste. So when James mentioned he wanted to create an exclusive cigar, I was stoked.
Like Metallica, Drew Estate has some of the most hardcore fans out there. I've known Rob Dietrich for years, and when he approached me to collaborate on this, we couldn't be more excited. I mean, Metallica, Black and Whiskey, and Drew Estate, what could be a better passion project?
We all came up with a vision of what a blackened M81 cigar would look and taste like. M81, Metallica, formed in 1981, as you can see right here, just so I don't forget. And now you won't forget because it's on this.
We needed to craft a cigar unlike anything in our portfolio.
One that would take cigar fans on the deepest, darkest, heaviest journey into the mystical world of Maduro.
Full-bodied with notes of espresso, leather, and dark chocolate. A wrapper, a binder, a filler that is all Maduro, and they're all grown in separate places.
You talk about a heavy leaf cigar. This is beyond passion. This shit is straight amplification.
Blackened Cigar M81 by Drew Estate is bold, rich, and powerful enough to satisfy the most experienced cigar connoisseur, but also balanced that new cigar lovers can enjoy its tantalizing smoking experience as well.
Blackened Cigars, M81 by Drew Estate. Coming soon.
actually, it's out there.
Before you light your next cigar, be sure to check out Cigar Medics, the makers of the patent-approved humidimeter. The humidimeter is a tool designed to display the relative humidity inside your cigar. With this device, there's no more guessing. Simply insert the probes into the foot or cap of your cigar, and you can instantly know if your cigar is ready to be smoked. Buy now on cigarmedics.com and see site for other cigar accessories. With the humidimeter, you'll know when to hold them and know when to smoke them.
And today's show is brought to you by Brothers Cigars, a new and active brand founded by two Honduran brothers, Bryant and Douglas Bocock. The brand zeroes in on those folks that are looking for easy-to-smoke cigars inspired by unusual circumstances. Very importantly named after their very interesting and imitable last name, Bocock. Right now, Bocock Brothers is featuring their signature edition, made at the A.J. Fernandez factory in Esteli, Nicaragua. It features an Ecuadorian Sumatra wrapper, a Nicaraguan Habano binder, and a Nicaraguan filler. Available in 3 popular formats, a Robusto, a Toro, and a Gordo. You can check out Bocock Brothers Cigars at www.bocockbrothers.com. The year was 1947, and the Rodriguez family began the masterful art of cultivating tobacco on their private plantation in the town of Saguane, Cuba. By 1952, La Finca Carmen Cedar employed over 20 workers and grew over 120,000 pounds of tobacco annually. Of course, 8 years later, the Cuban government nationalized the private plantation, and the Rodriguez family was forced to immigrate to the United States. In 1971, the Rodriguez family found a new beginning on the island of Key West and established the Rodriguez Cigar Factory in 1984. That factory stands as the oldest cigar manufacturer in the Florida Keys, preserving the historical cigar manufacturing industry that began in Key West in 1831. As the years passed, new generations of family members have expanded manufacturing operations to Nicaragua, and they're proud to be working with some of the finest tobacco in the world. Rodriguez cigars are exclusively constructed with vintage leaves that have been hand selected, aged, and constructed through the traditional Cuban manufacturing process. If you're ever in Key West, I highly recommend visiting the Rodriguez Cigar Factory and take the $15 factory tour. You'll be able to learn the history of Key West and cigars, and as a memento of your visit, you'll be able to roll and bunch your own cigar to take home with you. You can check out Rodriguez Cigars at www.rodriguezcigarskeywest.com. And today's show is brought to you by Platinum Nova Cigars. Platinum Nova is a family-owned and operated premium cigar company. Only the highest vintage tobacco and the most skilled hand workmanship go into the making of each Platinum Nova cigar. This results in a timeless blend of art and craftsmanship. The Nova brand and the family's work are a tribute and an honor to their grandfather to always remember him and his infinite passion for the finest cigars. Their love for cigars started with their grandfather, a dedicated master blender and entrepreneur in the cigar industry. So the next time you're looking for that exquisite cigar experience, pick up a Platinum Nova. You could check them out at Platinum Nova Cigars, www.novacigar.com, and on their Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter channels. All right. I'd like to thank my sponsors, for without them, the show is always a little harder to do. Let's get back to Ali and Heather. So, Cigar Heritage Festival.
Yes.
How'd you do there?
Did wonderful. We did wonderful. It was our first, we've done other events, but this was our first big one. And I have to say, I'm so proud of what we were able to accomplish. Our main goal was to get our name out there, get more people, get more our cigars in more people's hands. And I think we've accomplished that.
So you get good feedback? Did people sit down with you and talk to you about your
Oh, yeah.
cigars, what they liked about it?
We actually had people coming up to us going, "Hey, we heard about your cigars in the crowd and we came looking for you." So
Nice.
that was wonderful. I mean, we even were able to get a couple of lounges to, yeah, we got a couple of accounts from that. So yeah, it was very positive. And here's the thing, we didn't have any expectations. You know, we love what we do. We want to get out there, but we went out there just to have fun and just be a part of it. And we had fun. We worked through it like every minute of it, but it was the response was great. We had so many people coming back. We had people leaving with doubt, like, okay, I'll give it a try, and then coming back with 4 or 5 other people saying, look, you need to try these cigars. Or like I said earlier, we got people going, hey, we heard people talking about your cigars in the crowd and we were looking for you, you know, what do you got? And the rest was just history. It was beautiful. Loved it.
Fantastic. Now, is that like the largest event you've been to since you started?
Yes, that is our largest. We were in Indiana because we're also members of the.
Yeah, you went to Boutique Festival, right?
You know, so that we had that, but this one was definitely our biggest so far.
Yeah, very good. Well, congratulations on that.
Thank
I
you.
mean, it's always an accomplishment. Now,
Yeah.
have you been able to breach into stores here in Florida and elsewhere yet?
Yes, we have what, 3 here in Florida.
Yes, counting the mobile lounge.
Yes, and we have like I want to say 4 outside of the state. We're actually going to be making a call tomorrow, so we're slowly getting a name, and people are starting to ask about us. So we're proud of what we've accomplished in a year's time with just, you know, small little mom and pop, and
That's how it starts.
yeah, you know, because we still have our full-time jobs. So, you know, when we're not working and just spending time with each other, we're focusing on the business. And the fact that we have what we have so far, we're very proud of ourselves.
Now, are you planning to go to like TPE with Ish in February?
Well, we are, but they're, you know,
Yeah.
Okay. We have
You gotta ask the money girl.
well, here's the reason because what I'm about to share with you.
Going,
We were originally planning to go, but October 25th, my wife was diagnosed with breast cancer.
oh my,
And
my. Sorry.
and so we have her schedule set for January 24th. So we want to make sure, she wants to go. She's like,
I will go. He is reeling me in. I've already booked, like, I was booking events. We're gonna go to this, we're gonna go to that, we're doing this, and he keeps reminding me that I'm having surgery and we're not gonna be able to go. So we will not be able to make the TPE this year, but we will be there next year.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
because we went
Yeah.
we went this year.
we
So
attend as attendees.
Yeah.
We loved it. We met great people.
Yeah, wasn't it great? I love that event.
Yeah. And it was our first time. It was a way for us to get a vacation in at the same time. But yeah, we made some great contacts there. So we were definitely looking forward to February. But family comes first regardless. So we're gonna shoot for 2024.
All right. Well, then I'll see you in 2024 there.
Definitely.
There.
Definitely.
What else you got in the hopper right now for 23? You have some plans going forward? You're looking at different events possibly?
Oh yeah, definitely. We're always looking to see what's popping up. We're trying to make our way so we can get into the event in Vegas for the summer.
Well, PCA?
PCA
Okay.
through the BCA, of course. Any event that pops up, we're always keeping a tab on it because there was 2 others that were coming up, but due to the surgery, we needed to not focus on those. Of course, we're going to do the Heritage Festival again.
Yep.
So anybody who's listening, we are always welcome. We're always open to any event. We love doing them, and we're very rarely going to say no to an event because we just love the atmosphere. We love the opportunity to get our brand out there. So we have a few in line that we're looking into now, but as many as we can. As many as we can.
Have you possibly looked into the Destination Herf in Miami in January? I know you've got this thing going on, but
Yeah.
that's
Yeah,
another
that was-
great event.
We didn't know what date my surgery was going to be. So we haven't committed to that one, and we really wanted to do the Black Smoke, which I think is in February.
February, right?
And that I think that's a 4-day event, so I may or may not be recovered enough to make that trip.
It doesn't have to be a whole 4 days. I mean, both the Heritage Festival and Black Smoke Miami have things leading up to it. So you're going to go to different shops and stuff, but there's always a main event.
Yeah.
Right.
I will go to anything we can go to, pending he allows us to, because I'll book them.
Yeah, she will. She will. I mean, we were talking to a gentleman yesterday who wants to book something for us for 2024. And I was telling him, trust me, if we know about it and we can get in, we're going to go.
And
So
the gentleman we met yesterday, not only did he buy a bundle of our cigars because they don't sell them in a lounge where he lives in Texas, he actually had one of our cigars, the Unity and Kinship in the green band, that he picked up when he was traveling through the Carolinas. Somebody gifted it to him.
Yeah.
So we were honored
Yeah.
that somebody in the Carolinas had it and shared it with him, and then we ran into him in Tampa yesterday.
Oh, very good. I if you got connections in Texas, I would say send some samples down to the Underground Cigar Lounge in Texas,
okay.
Okay,
who specializes in small brand boutique lines.
All right. We would
perfect.
One
we
of
would
the
definitely
best
reach out to them.
houses in the country for carrying eclectic brands that a lot of people can't find, but they get them there.
Okay.
And
Sounds good.
just you could drop my name, just say Boston Jimmy said, hey, you should try these. And
Okay. We
maybe
definitely
it'll show up
appreciate
on a
that.
shelf.
Because we prefer our big plan is we always prefer to send our customers to the lounges.
Mhm.
So, we tell people if the lounge that's near you, they don't have it, then come to us, and then let them know, hey, listen, this is cigars I love to smoke. You should have these in your lounges. But we're really big on sending people to their local lounges that sell our cigars. We want them to buy them from there.
Of
you know?
course.
And And that's how, you know, we try to run our business, that our long-term goal is to where our site is mostly for wholesale or informing people where you can buy our cigars. You know, we want that culture to grow, and we want it to maintain. So we're not trying to take business from lounges. We want to make sure we get people to lounges.
Yeah, and shops want to hear that story for sure, because they, you know, they don't want to have you selling the cigars and them selling the cigars.
Right.
Exactly.
Right? Especially if their MSRP across the board, not so bad, but sometimes you can get them a little less on a site. Next thing you know, you're undercutting your lounge, and they're like, why would I carry your brand?
Right.
Exactly.
You know? What
Yeah.
would you say some of your biggest challenges were in getting into the premium cigar business
Huh.
that you didn't think
Honestly,
about when you got into it?
you know, it's funny because we were talking about that a couple of days ago, the wife and I. I'm an industrial organizational psychologist, and one of my specialties is helping organizations be more streamlined, effective, where they're spending less money but making more money, you know, for their products. So across the board, all businesses are the same at their core. It's understanding the culture. So as a smoker, I understand the cigar culture. You know, I it's me, it's what I do. But when you get into the business, it was so hard getting people to open up and share about their culture from a business perspective. You know, luckily I had someone like Ish who sat down and he'll share with you. You know, he's more than open. He loves talking about it. So he was an open book. But like, you know, you want to get different perspectives, you know, from lounge owners and other people. And it was very difficult for them to open up, you know. And I sat there and I realized there's enough business for everybody. You know, with all the cigar brands and sticks that are out there, there's enough still for everybody.
Oh, it's a
You know,
huge playing field.
exactly. So I think the biggest struggle for us was making sure we were doing everything right. And because my problem is I come to everything with the mind of a psychologist. I want to make sure when I present my cigars, that it's visually something that's going to catch your eye, that it's something, the story will catch your ear, and so on. But outside of that, when I'm dealing with lounge owners or whatever, what are the do's and don'ts? And nobody wanted to share. I mean, I learned them, but that was probably one of the biggest
Like
bumps.
you don't go into a lounge cold. You
Right.
call first.
Right.
You don't go into a lounge and force the guy to smoke the cigar in front of you. You would like that,
Right.
but he may be busy.
Right.
Best to go in mid-morning, okay? Not when he opens
Not
the
during the
door.
rush.
Yeah.
Avoid the rush when it's still quiet.
Exactly.
And most importantly, when you walk into a lounge, how much does this cigar cost? $12 retail. Okay.
Mhm.
So what $12 cigar in his inventory
Mhm.
is this going to replace?
Right.
Okay. Because he only has so much shelf space.
Right.
Right.
Or what $9 or $10 cigar is going to gravitate to this and say, hey, I want that cigar. It's that good. Right. And have it move.
Exactly.
And then, of course, what is your availability? Because this is an industry, probably the only one that I know of, where you sell a product to a shop, and then the shop wants you to come in and sell the product to the consumer.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
We enjoyed we had a cut and light last year, New Year's Eve. And I think if there were, just out of a ballpark, if there were 10 people that came in to buy a cigar, 9 of them bought our cigar. One woman was just looking for an ashtray for her husband. So she wasn't interested and we couldn't get her, but we were able to get our cigars into 9 of the 10 hands. So that was a good thing. So for every 10 that came in, 9 of them walked out with our cigars.
Yeah.
Very nice.
So
That's
that was
good.
fun. Yeah, that was a good time.
Yeah.
And that lounge picked up your line?
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And let me tell you, it's such a beautiful time when you see people enjoying your smoke. When people are sitting there enjoying it, you see them close their eyes, they're puffing, and it makes the wife and I feel good that, okay, we have a good product. We have a real product that people are enjoying, and that just puts a smile on our faces. To walk into a lounge and seeing somebody smoke one of our cigars, there's nothing like it.
I know that feeling.
Yeah.
Because when I sound like a broken record to some of my viewers, but when I created my 60th birthday cigar, it was just for a party. Had 100 people at a lounge, had
Right.
100 cigars, gave everybody a cigar when they left. Got contacted by people that were real cigar smokers because they really enjoyed that cigar. Can I buy more? And I said, I don't sell cigars. You can only get them and have no more. So I
Right.
said, they're done. So I had to put a reorder in, and then I would use them as some of my prizes I would give away. Or if I saw you in a
Okay.
lounge, if I had them with me, I'd give you one, like a calling
Right.
card. And people kept saying, man, could I just buy these from you? And I said, no, because I don't have a license to sell. I'm not going to do that.
Right.
But I'm more than happy to gift you any one of these cigars.
Right.
And I went through like my 4th iteration of it, and I'm all out of them again. And unfortunately, the company I've been working with kind of moved in a different direction. So I got to work with them and figure out where we go forward on it for another
Right.
order.
Right.
But to see people tell you that, it's, you gave birth to the baby,
Yeah.
right? You have
Yeah.
no idea what
Yeah.
this is going to mature into. And suddenly you get this feedback and you're like,
Yeah.
wow, you feel
Yeah.
good.
We were at a party last night, and of course, we always come with cigars, but they were trying to buy them from us, exactly like you said. And we're like, we're not here trying to push our cigars. We're here attending this event. We'll share them with you. And they wanted to buy them from us.
Yeah.
And we were like, we're here just trying to enjoy the party, enjoy the journey, take it.
Yep.
We gave them, they enjoyed them. They're on our site, they want more. So we're telling them, let their lounges know. And we'd be happy to send samples to anybody who wants these in their lounge.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
I have a comment here from one of my viewers and good friend is John Harper. You might have met John Harper. John Harper says that BSS is a great company. They supported our Ohio Cigar Mafia charity events for Southeastern Guide Dogs back in October. I hung out with them at the Boutique Cigar Festival this year. Excellent cigars.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
That means a lot to us.
Great feedback from that. Jeff Walsh says, can't wait to see Stogie Press review on BSS. Who else chimed in here? Okay, some of these things. Just had a cigar by Ish last night, and it was good. Brian Lewis. Brian Lewis is our California fan. He's out there in Laguna Beach. So we got some good reach here. When you started this now, did you go down to the Dominican with Ish?
No, due to COVID and everything else, we couldn't go there. So once now that everything's kind of got cleared up, we do have plans to try to make it down. Hopefully we can do it in 2023. So I told Ish, don't make another trip down there without us, because we're right there. So we're definitely looking forward to that. Yeah.
Now, have you ever been into a factory?
Actually, no. No. Yeah, so we're excited about it. We want to see where our babies were made, and yeah, we're excited.
I would say if you get down to the Dominican and you go to the factory, definitely find somewhere where you can get a tour of the fields, just walk tobacco fields, definitely check out factories, watch the processing facilities, how they build the pilones, how they ferment the tobacco. The whole process it's mind-blowing that we've been doing this for hundreds of years. And the process is pretty much the same. If you talk about earlier about efficiencies in business. You know, part of my job is in the engineering world. I'm into engineering process and making the processes more efficient through software application. Every time I do these things with these multi-billion-dollar companies that build airplanes and cars and other things, you start to look at the cigar industry and you're going, well, how would that ever apply? You know, because there's all these like 300 hands that touch it. The processes are tried and true through time-honored traditions of how they do it. You know, I mean, can you really? You could probably perfect some of your agricultural aspects of it, but are you gonna really perfect the pilon and how you take it apart and put it back together, or take it apart, put it back together to go through the fermentation? Maybe you get a little better temperature reading and more accuracy, but how much efficiency can you add to that? It's always in the back of my head going, you know, is there ways of perfecting that? So,
and some things, you know, that old adage, there's not broken, don't fix it. You know, and it's been working all this time and it works great.
that's correct.
Yeah. Yeah.
But then you get companies that make millions and millions of cigars a year, right? You know that they're trying to get most efficient process possible, right?
Right.
You know, you shave 3 cents off a cigar at wholesale. Those pennies add up. You know,
They do.
It's like when I grew up in Long Island and there was this little candy store on the corner, right? It was owned by these 2 old Jewish guys. Well, they weren't old then, but they as I got older, they got old, I guess.
Right.
These guys were the most amazing 2 guys I've ever met. They ran this little candy store. They had the newspapers, they had the magazines, they had the soda counter, and they sold penny bubble gum. And they were driving around in Cadillacs and Lincolns. Meanwhile, I worked at the pharmacy 2 doors up, and my pharmacists weren't driving Cadillacs and limousines. I mean, and Lincolns, right? I mean, it's like these guys, every penny, man, added up, and man, they were rolling in money just from this little store they catered to kids, man. And the dentist next door loved them.
Of course.
And we take that approach too. I mean, that's one reason why I think we've been able to get as far as we've gotten in such a short period of time. We're very mindful. We, you know, and like I said, having someone like Ish in our corner, giving us a clear understanding of those little things makes it a whole lot easier too. So yeah, I mean, you surround yourself around the right people. You're mindful of what you do, and because one thing about the wife and I, we're more about quality than flash. You know, I can tell you there's cigars that look better, you know, but we're all about focusing on quality. We're all about focusing on making sure you guys enjoy that cigar. And by the way, make sure you take that band off, because the way these cigars are designed, smoke it all the way to the nub, just like the show, because the journey's not over until you can't hold it anymore.
Yeah. We like to say, like, if you haven't taken the band off, it's almost like you're going down the interstate and you never got off to check out those little side road attractions. You're missing all the good stuff.
There you go.
There you go.
Actually, I'm actually enjoying this one right here. I've been getting some. There's a light spice. It's not overbearing spice on this. There's a creaminess that's coming in constantly. That's wrapping it, keeping it balanced as it's going on. There was a little bit of coffee note that I got. I think the burn is pretty good. I was, you know, I was flipping the ash because, you know, the first time I smoke a cigar, I don't know what it's going to do. So you either ashing yourself or you're ashing in the ashtray.
Exactly.
So,
exactly.
but I love that. See how long the ashes hold. I mean, it's a really nice format. All right. I think that people are gravitating more to slightly smaller ring gauge cigars.
Yeah.
Over the time, we saw that motion of ginormous ring gauge. I mean, Asylum just came out with a 7x70, which I saw it in my shop the other day. You know, my shop owner looked at me and goes, "Yeah, my jaw hurts just looking at it." You know, I mean, it's just ginormous. I'm like, going, why?
Right.
What is the purpose of that? ginormous cigar. You know, 6x60 is even too big for me these days. I do like Lanceros, Coronas like this. They just get so much. You get that flavor of that wrapper.
Yeah.
You get more of the wrapper flavor in it than you do in a larger ring gauge.
Yeah. And that's another thing, like when with the designs of the sizes and everything, because we do plan down the line to offer other sizes with each one of the blends. But I wanted to make sure I kind of did a little bit of everything when it came to the sizes. That's why we have the one torpedo, the Corona, and so on. So people can actually get an idea. Because here's the thing, we take a lot of feedback from our customers. We want to know your thoughts, your opinions, and so on. And we take all that in consideration when we decide our next move on what we're going to do. And that's the reason why I decided to go with the Corona with that size, because I noticed there's been more people smoking Luceros and than the Coronas. So I was like, let's put it out there. And that's the blend I wanted with that, because I figured it'll be a nice mix with the size and the tones in that one.
And it's full. It's got such a full, thick smoke
Yeah.
on it. With such a small ring gauge, you're getting a full palette of smoke. It's thick. It's creamy. It's burning. It's not burning hot. You know, sometimes that's another balance you got to get in small, especially in some of the small ring gauges. They tend to burn hot.
Yeah.
We'll see how it gets to the bottom. I just saw Lou Piscatelli said, nope, that's going to burn smooth and it's going to burn cool all the way to the nub. So I trust
Thank you,
Lou.
Lou.
I trust Lou in his comments.
Lou knows what he's talking about.
He
That's the
does.
man.
Well,
right
he knows Ish's products very well.
Definitely.
He's a big Ish fan.
Definitely.
So
Without a
he's been
doubt.
turning me on to him all the time.
And
At this point, I want to take a quick little break. We can go through what's new in news and reviews on Stogie Press this week. And then when we come back, we'll continue this conversation and see where it takes us.
Sounds good.
So this week in Stogie Press, let's go through some of the reviews. I got 3 reviews in this week. You're going to see a lot more reviews between now and the beginning of the year, because I got some that I've been backed up on, and I know that I have to get some reviewed also because we're putting out the top lists, and there are some that I just have to smoke. Some I didn't get that I got to actually go try and see what happens to see if they make the list, especially the big guys. But we did touch on a few. So the first one I want to talk about is this company called Yaya. So Yaya Cigars, this is the Bagua Robusto, came in 93. This is actually distributed by United Cigars. Okay, so the same ones that distribute some of the other fine brands that they have. This is a Dominican Republic cigar. It's comes from Tabacalera Magia. It's a Robusto, 15 box count, $9 price tag on it, released this year. I was getting some baking spice, some cocoa, some coffee, natural sweetness, nut and spice. And it was coming in with a wrapper of Ecuadorian Habano, a Dominican Cubano binder, and a Dominican, 3-region Dominican filler. So a lot of Dominican tobacco in this. Overall, this was nice looking cigar. It comes in actually 4 different vitolas, from a short Robusto all the way to a 6x60 Gordo. Nice looking cigar, some veins, little marbling in it. I was a little concerned about the packing on this because it looked a little loose on the foot down here. Not as much packing as I would normally see. But that didn't seem to have a major problem because the ash carried very well. All right, so you can see where the ash dropped. It actually dropped closer to the band here than where even this first picture was taken. Nice, beautiful ash cone. Continued, picked right back up. So overall, really nice. It did have a little jag in the burn. The smoke was a tad hot in the final. Overall, this is definitely a box buy. Comes in 93. Next one, we all know and love Steve Saka. So this is his new Muestra de Saka. This is the Bewitched. This is his latest in the line. This is a full production cigar, although they produce them in limited quantities every year. I think there's 2,500 boxes this year, if I'm not mistaken. This is obviously from Nicaragua. It's done at Hoya de Nicaragua. This is a 6 5/8 by 48 Toro Extra, it's called. It's a little longer than a normal Toro and a slightly little narrower cigar. They come in the coffins. So they always come in these coffins with the footer band on it. It was a $19.75 cigar. So people a lot of times will go like, oh man, that's, not the most wallet friendly cigar, but this is a cigar that is worth every penny that you're paying for this. It has a dark grade A1 Ecuadorian Habano wrapper. It's got a San Andreas Negro binder and Nicaraguan and USA fillers in it. Beautiful looking cigar. It's got nice oils on it. It's got some beautiful marbling going through it, very minimal veins in here. It's got a pigtail cap. It's got the footer on it. What I like about the foot of the cigar, look at the dark swirled leaf in there. It's just some really black leaf he put in this. The coming through, the burn was nice. The burn is excellent, actually, on this cigar. I mean, this is one of those that got the bonus point for the burn. Look how pristine the burn is, down the burn cone, right down to the end. This is absolutely fantastic. I took no points off on this. The flavors on this, you get this pepperiness and a balancing cream right off the front. You get chocolate aromas come off right away. You're getting some cedar. Eventually you get into that dark chocolate. You get some more cream and spice with a mouth-watering citrus. A sweet caramel aroma develops later in the cigar. It has a nice nuttiness and pepper that develops moving into the final. This was an hour and 40 minutes smoke of absolute enjoyment. Definitely box worthy if you can afford them. Pleasurable and consistent across multiple samples and an even burn down to the nub. This one comes in the 97. Congratulations, Steve Saka. This is definitely up in the top of my list. Okay, so this is a fabulous cigar. And then the last one I looked at was a Rocky Patel Edge. Now, when I was younger, many years ago, I was all about the Edge. I always enjoyed the fact that this beautiful wallet-friendly cigar. I smoked tons of these back in the day, and my favorite one was the Sumatra. That was my favorite Edge of them all. This one I was excited about because it's got a 10-year-old Ecuadorian Sumatra wrapper. So I'm going, all right, we're good to go, right? It's made of Plasencia. All right. It's got a Honduran broadleaf binder, Honduras and Panama fillers. So it's got an interesting twist in this. Problem I had with this cigar, it was harsh on the front end. So as soon as you light it up, I was getting these harsh notes kind of attacking the palate before it settled down. And it took a little while to settle. All right. The construction looked good. Came in, it did start a little wave off here. It had a little flat burn cone when it came off, but it was still scented if you look at the edge. Still got a little bit of a wave going through it. It was a little harsh. It's a peppery spice you get into it. It started with having this nice stacking dimes ash, and eventually the ash got flaky in the second half and started, it just kept falling, flaking off. It had some bittersweet cocoa you eventually got, some nice sweet cinnamon and a lingering earth. But then it got into this sour note. And so I went from the harsh to something, okay, I get it. It's moving, it's changing. And then it hit my palate again. It was like it took a punch to the palate one more time. I was like, God, man. And then there was peppery spice, took it down to the final. So overall, harsh start, number of deductions. I might try another one of these, but yeah, I wouldn't be running out and buying these by the ton like I used to. I just feel like there's something ain't right. So yeah, it's an 88. That's what it is. When it comes to news, so we put out last week's show with Easy Ash. You can check that out on the Stogie Press YouTube channel. This right here, we're starting our countdown to the top cigars of 2022. You'll see more of these articles between now and New Year's Eve, because what I do is I put out candidates, and you won't know the stacking and the ranking of these until I publish the final article. All right. I do 3 categories. There's a large, a medium, and small company category. Each one will get a top cigar. Out of those three, there's an overall top cigar of the year that comes out of that. So there's three categories. Each one gets an award when I go to TPE, but there's one of those three are going to get the big award for the top cigar. So the first ones we put out was the Aganorsa Leaf Maduro Toro, the All Saints St. Francis, the Bocock Brothers World Traveler, Cigar Clowns Scaramouche, the Cohiba Series M, the Espinosa Knuckle Sandwich, the Luciano Mas Igneous, the Maya Selva Compe Lancero, the Ohana Cigars Pulse Robusto. That's a new revised Ohana Pulse. So they came out with those years ago, but they went to a new factory and they tweaked the blend. So it's a nice cigar. The Serafin de Cuba El Principe de Gales, the Tatawahi T110 Tuxla, and the K by Karen Berger 25th anniversary. So those are the first batch. You'll see more of these, and then stay tuned. Again, at New Year's Eve, you'll see the ranked and stacked list. Hoya de Nicaragua has rebirthed the Rosalones. Okay, so this is an older brand that they had. They rebirthed this, so you can read that article in there. The J.C. Newman has announced the 12 Days of Christmas. So this started a few days back. So you can check out their 12 Days of Christmas article. And Quality Importers have now announced their holiday gift set. They have this really cool gift set right here. It comes with a paleo lighter and a cutter, and you can get either a black or a green, gray. So you can check that out. These retail for $35 in the shop. So if your shop is carrying these, you can check that out. I like the paleo cutters. I think they do a good job. And then, of course, I put out the recap of the Cigar Heritage Festival. So if you were there, your picture is probably in this. I'm not going to go through details on this, but we'll open it up just briefly. And, you know, I started this whole thing with a friend's retirement party on the Gulf. And then I went to go visit old Ricky Rodriguez. We had some pre-parties we went to, and then the actual event. So your face might be in here somewhere as you go through. Check it out. Check out the article. We all love Dave, the cigar guy. So there we go. So great event. I enjoyed it. And then CAO announced their Amazon Basin Extra Añejo is hitting the shelves in January. So if you're an Amazon Basin fan like me, I'm looking forward to the latest Amazon Basin. They don't come out every year, so it's good that they have one coming out. And that's the news and reviews on Stogie Press. I don't think I have any other lounges. No, that's pretty much what I did this week. So we'll just close that segment out. So check it out. If you've been haven't checked out Stogie Press in a while, check it out. Don't forget to subscribe. You'll be part of the subscriber giveaways that we do every once in a while. So let's come back.
Yes.
Let's do a little lightning round.
Okay.
When did you know you wanted to be a psychologist?
Ooh, honestly, I want to say about 12.
Really?
Yeah. I come from a crazy family, and I realized I needed to understand what the hell was going on. And I fell in, I would, we had libraries. We didn't have Google back then.
That's right.
So started studying, and I was in love with it, and to this day, it's my passion.
I mean, the amount of technology we have for students today compared to what we did years ago. I mean, I used the slide rule literally to do. It wasn't the calculator didn't even exist. Okay. We had the chisel like Moses did on the tablets.
Mm-hmm.
That was the tablet. No. But yeah, and like I when I think about when I did calculus, right?
Oh yeah.
Calculus, you always had to visualize these equations, what the graphs look like, what the solids look like, what the curves look like. And you had to take the formulas and you had to kind of draw it out, sketch it out to kind of get the feeling of what it is. You can do all that today with the computers.
I know.
So much I can learn. I go back sometimes and look at calculus just as a hobby, and I'm just looking at stuff and going, man, if I had this, I mean, I was good, but
it would have been a game changer.
I would have been a whole lot better because
Yeah.
I would have really grasped it. So
Yeah. To this day, when people come into my office and they see all the books, first thing they ask, did you read all those books? I'm like, yeah, that was my first Google. Yeah, I've read every book on that shelf. That's how we had to learn.
That's right. And you had all little pieces of tape and stuff stuck on it, or paper clips on things, before they had Post-it notes.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's old age, man. That's how it is. So you were in the Army, you said.
Yes, sir.
Okay. How long did you serve and where did you serve?
Joined in '89, so I was in that old Army when a sergeant could still put their hands on you. But I did 5 years. I was a 12 Bravo combat engineer, served proudly, and yeah.
So were you over in the first Gulf War?
We technically no. We did some things over there, and then but no, that wasn't full. I'll just leave it at no.
No. Okay. Yeah. I always tell people I never served, but I did work in the defense industry for 20 years of my early life, and I designed, and my fingerprints are on some interesting systems that have helped us win battles and save many, many lives. So I think I did my share.
You did.
I have great respect for anybody that is in the service, was in the service, what they do to protect us, and let's just keep our troops safe all the time.
Definitely.
So it's
Definitely. I got a son in the Navy, and we're proud of him.
There's nothing not to be proud of.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
There you go.
Yeah.
So let me ask Heather, you do much streaming these days?
Streaming like the
Movies, Netflix, things like that?
So Ali, what we call like pre-screens things for me, because I don't like a lot of things and I have an attention issue. So he will pre-screen things for me that he thinks I might like. So we just finished up a Wednesday on Netflix, phenomenal. And now we're getting ready to jump into Andor. So
okay.
Yes, but he does the pre-screens because I won't sit through things.
What's your favorite genre of movies?
I like true crime.
Oh, okay.
I call them like the murder porn. I like those. I like the true crime, and I get to like try to figure out who did what, and then come up with ways that I would have done it better. Yeah.
There you go. And the psychiatrist is looking at you going,
He is constantly analyzing me. Yes.
The sad thing is she learned some things from me, so it's like, oh man, I screwed up.
Yeah, I came up with a great way to create a library for weapons and how to I'm like, they wouldn't get caught if there was a library for weapons where you could just like recycle them around. And we actually kind of talked through the idea and then realized that it was a no-go, that we should not be doing this.
Yeah.
So yeah, I like the true crime.
Well, there used to be, I don't know if it's still a rule in Hollywood, but there used to be a rule where if you were dealing with a movie where there was a crime involved and they were working on, that crime had to be solved, that the person had to be caught in the movie. They couldn't leave it as an uncaught criminal, because it would basically be then saying, this is what you could do and get away with it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know if they still do that today, but I remember that years ago that it was a thing.
Yeah, I don't know, because we just watched a show not too long ago where the trial hasn't even happened yet. That I think the trial is coming up in January. So it was like what led up to, I don't remember what it was. Again,
but that's different if it's a factual movie, if it's a fictional movie.
Yeah.
Right. You're the movie writer and you write a perfect crime. You weren't allowed to have a perfect crime.
Yeah.
Like there was a movie, if you remember the movie The Italian Job.
Yes.
The original, not the remake.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No.
Right.
Yeah.
What was so cool about that movie is that they got away with all the gold, right? And they were going through the mountain range on the bus, right? and the gold is in the back of the bus.
Yep.
And the bus, right at the end of the bus, kind of skids, and it slides off not off the cliff, but the back of the bus is off the cliff. Now what happens is you've got all the people that are on the bus that committed the crime are in the front of the bus. The gold is in the back of the bus, and the bus is basically doing this. If you walked to the back of the bus tips over. If you got off the bus tips over.
Yeah.
What do? And the movie ends that way. So, yeah, you got away with the crime, but in the end,
you didn't get away. Yeah.
That was one of my favorite movies when I was younger. I watched that a number of times. In your journey now, as you move forward, what is your growth plan for 23? What is it you want to do in 23?
23. We definitely we have a goal to have a certain amount of lounges that we hope to have our cigars in. We're actually planning to come out with 2 to 3 different 2 or 3 more faces. Actually, we're just talking to Ish now that we're working on another combined stick. So hopefully, next time we talk, I can have that sent to you so you can review that one. But right now we're kind of just going with the flow with everything. Like I said, with us being a year, we learned a lot in this past year. And once she finishes healing up, we're gonna jump right back on it. And with her, she's not gonna slow down anyway, but I'm gonna try to, at least the first part of the year, keep her slowed down. But I know as soon as she's ready to go, we're gonna be hitting it. And the sky's the limit for us right now. Nothing's off the table. And we're looking to grow as much as we can, as big as we can.
There you go. And you got to keep going. And you take that feedback, and you're gonna find out that sometimes people don't see your baby as beautiful as you think it is, but that's okay.
Yeah.
Because you're gonna find people saying, we've had this issue, I didn't like this flavor, and then take that back. And I'm sure Ish will look at that and be like, okay, why was that happening? Especially if it's a common thread, and that's okay. You're new, and the idea is you never want to have it to the point where somebody says, I tried one of those and they're dog rockets and I never want to have another one.
Exactly.
Those are the people that kind of sometimes drive me crazy, because it's like, okay, you didn't like the cigar, I get it. It wasn't for your palate, I get it. Did you try one of the other ones?
Right.
Okay. Would you try another one from the company in a year from now with a new blend, as they're young and they're growing? You got to give it a shot. You got to give it a shot all the time. And you might find out that, remember, companies like Fuente were a little company like you at one point.
Yeah.
None of these companies, Drew Estate, largest cigar company in the world, Drew Estate, Jonathan Drew was slinging cigars in the old World Trade Center when I was going to college. Right. He was that was what he was doing. Okay. Yeah. And he grew that into a monolith. And he, like you, he went down to Nicaragua and knew nothing about this, and literally lived in a factory for years. Yeah. Okay. Slept in the factory. Okay. And learned every part of that process and perfected it to where he built this ginormous cigar company.
And that's our goal. We have 2 sons. We have 3 sons, but 2 of them are really interested in the business. So they've been learning, and we had a granddaughter. So our little
congratulations.
Girl, when I saw her, our goal was, when she's a grown woman, we want her to be able to stand and go, my grandparents started this. So we're thinking past us with the business. And that's what we want. That's where we want to go with this.
Big generational. This needs to pass on. You hear the stories. My family's 4th generation Cuban. We go back to the days in Cuba when it was free and we exiled and all of that. Or we started here in the United States, 3 generations ago, and we're still growing. Yeah, if you get to that level, you're almost on an autopilot mode at that level.
Yeah,
Unless you
exactly.
completely screw up, right? You've
Exactly.
got a good following, you've got plenty of shops. I would say a successful cigar brand,
Thank you.
okay, is one that's in about 300 shops.
Yeah.
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 Okay. That's anything more than that, you're successful, right?
Yeah.
Around the country, not just in one region. So
Exactly.
people know your brand, they know your face. You'll be signing autographs, people, sign my box. And I actually
look
had
forward to
somebody
that
come
day.
up to me. I had somebody come up to me once at an event, and they bought a box of cigars, and they wanted my signature on somebody else's
Nice.
cigars. I'm like going, I'm
Nice.
not even the guy. He goes, oh, but you're Boston Jimmie, man, sign the box. I'm like going, really don't want to see my signature because it's just scribble.
Right.
But here you go. Well, thank you very much. It's kind of weird.
Hey, you're the man. I mean, the minute I saw you come around the corner, I'm like, Boston Jimmie. Yeah, so, yeah,
Have
definitely.
fun with it. We're approaching our 10 years in doing this, and it's like you, it's been a journey.
Yeah.
I've had a lot of growth over the years, and a lot of things I've done right, things I've done wrong. I tried certain things, it didn't work. I think I settled into a lane right now that I'm happy with. We're gonna do some more things next year that are gonna make even this show even better. And then when it comes to the site, I mean, I always tell people, if you go to the site and you just start perusing the site and just start clicking on, the cigar review page and different brands, you're gonna find articles from like 9 years ago
Wow. Yeah.
that I look at. I'm like going, what was I thinking writing like this? This sucks. I said, how did anybody pay attention to me, right? It took time, and I went through evolutions, and then I
Yeah.
finally found my formula.
Right.
Say, this is how I do things, and I
Right.
just stick to that, and it makes everything easier for me to do what I do, because it's now I could just, each one has a consistent format, consistent way of doing it.
Yeah.
Every day, my cigar reviews are always at like 11 o'clock in the morning. So when I'm reviewing a cigar,
Right.
because I've already had breakfast. I've had my 2 cups of coffee behind me. I can judge strength. I got a clean palate at that point.
Yep.
Everything comes out of my, controlled environment, humidification, temperature. So everything is all the same.
Right.
But when it comes down to how the cigar performs, you got the same criteria as everybody else.
Right.
Mhm.
Right? I'm not out there saying, well, that one or that one, maybe you stored that one differently. No.
Yeah.
I as an engineer, I said, I have to have a control system
Always.
properly
Always.
do something.
Yeah.
So,
And we've
you
gone
learn.
through that. Yeah, we're we made our mistakes here and there. I mean, even in the past year, because we're perfectionists. So to us, it feels like we've been doing this longer than a year, but we had to stop sometimes and go, wait a minute, we've done
We're still
pretty
new.
damn well.
I think we're our worst critics.
Yeah.
And it's just a slow and steady process. We're not in a hurry.
Hmm.
Right.
And we know we have a good product, and we know that we will get it in as many hands as the people who want it.
Yeah.
And like I said, we're not in a hurry. We're not trying to win a race. So we're just enjoying the journey. And it's fun. And we've been meeting some fantastic people,
Oh,
and
yeah.
we've got already lifelong friendships. So it's a win-win.
And that's the beautiful part. And the passion shows. The passion is key, because when you're doing this, it is a slow journey to
Mhm.
grow, right? To get your name known and all that.
Yeah.
And I can tell you how many times, and as a psychiatrist, I could probably sit on your couch and you could probably drill into my brain, because I go through those moments where I fret over Stogie Press more than I do my own job, right? I
Yeah.
worry about things that my wife says, why are you worrying about that? And I'm like,
Yep.
well, I looked at the numbers today, and they were, the viewership was down 5%. It's like, and the next day it's up like 20%.
Right.
But that one day I'm like,
Yep. That's me. I
oh,
do
I'm
the same thing.
depressed.
Yeah. I think I actually decided to stop doing this for about 5 minutes. I was like frustrated. I'm like, you know what? I'm done. I'm not doing this anymore. And then 5 minutes later, we need to call that lounge. Let's go.
That's,
Yeah.
you can psychoanalyze yourself.
And we're still in it. I mean, there
Yeah.
have been plenty of people who have started and stopped at this point. We're in it
Yeah.
and we're having fun with it. And I think that's the biggest part
Yeah.
is that we're enjoying the journey. Would we
Yeah.
love one day to have this be our full-time job? Yes. Right now, we're fine. We have money coming in other ways.
Right.
This is fun.
Yeah.
This is just a good time.
And that's and when it stops being fun, it's like any job, right? You know,
Yeah.
I love my regular job, but I'm getting ready to retire from it because I am getting old and I do want to focus on other things in life. So give me my 10 hours a day that I dedicate to my company, and
Right.
I could put it into this and I could put it into other things, and just have a different type of fun and just transform myself.
Yeah.
But I still enjoy what I do for a living, and I'm always like, retire, no, don't retire, retire, no, don't retire. You know. So, well, it has been an absolute pleasure having you on. I hope people have learned a few things. For those that are listening now or later, remember, love, like, or share this, and you too can be in a Wheel of Wonderfulness next week, and maybe you can win some cool stuff from Stogie Press in Boston. Jimmie, I'm going to give Heather and Ali the last word.
It's all you.
Well, first of all, thank you so much for having us. It's definitely a dream. It's been a pleasure, and trust me, I'm excited. I'm like I told you, a little nervous, but got through it. It felt like just been talking to an old friend. So thank you again for the opportunity to share our company with your audience. Yeah.
Heather?
He couldn't have, I couldn't have said it better.
Uh,
Like he said.
that's a good marriage right there. All right, with that, I want to say goodbye to everybody out there. Don't forget, love, like, and share this, like I said. And I'm going to try to get a show in next week, but we do have holidays in front of us. So they're definitely not going to be Saturday shows because there's Christmas Eve and New Year's Eve and all that other good stuff. So that ain't happening. I'm going to try to figure if I can fit something in on a Wednesday or so. I'm still looking for anybody that has cigar tents, teepees, shacks in the north where it's freezing cold. I want to redo the show we did a year or so ago where we brought them all in and everybody got to show off their smoking habitats that are outside of their house while it's snowing and it's freezing outside. So that's always a good show to watch. So if you got one and you want to be on that show, send me a message on Facebook and I'll see if I can get 6 of you together. And if we can, we'll do it on Wednesday next week. If not, we'll do that in January. So with that, I want to say good night to all and all have a very happy holiday season. And I'll catch you all on the rebound.
All right. Good night, everyone.
All right. We are no longer live. There we go. That was fun. See, it's easy with me.
Yeah, it was.
Thank you. Yeah, that was
Had a great time.
Completely unscripted, like I say. And I get compliments on this all the time because you can see other shows, and I'm not going to bash my competition or my brothers in this media, but I started with this concept of having lists, doing this, and I'm like, you never get into those questions anyway, okay? Because you only have so much time. And it's better for the guests to start giving me their soliloquy.
Right.
I listen and I move the conversation.
I like the organic conversation. It seems more natural too, where it's not like, okay, I'm going to send you a list of questions I'm going to ask you, so have a script ready. And this was very comfortable.
I tried my best to make it comfortable for the guests. I want it to be a conversation. You know, that's why when my wife makes that badge all the time, it always says talking with. All right. So that badge that she puts out, that announcement we put out every week, is the same one, just a different name, face, and a different title.
I like
but
it.
It's branded. That's what it is. And it's talking with.
Right.
It's not an interview. It's not, none of that. It's like when I go to like shows like PCA and TPE.
Right.
I used to go in there with equipment, sit down with the brand owners and it's like I found out coming home, it was a pain in the ass because there's noise in the background. You got this, you got that. I have to go through Premiere Pro. I have to go and do all this immense editing,
Right.
tone down the noise. It took me hours upon hours on a single interview to just get it right. And I said, no. I don't need to do that. They need to do business. They don't need me taking up their time.
Right.
And two, I'll just say, let's sit down, smoke a cigar, spend a little time with them, just talk, and then they're always getting up and talking to other customers anyway. So,
Right. Right.
and then at the end, they'll just say, look, give me a card. And if you want to be on the show, I'm lining up dates. Let's get you booked for a date during the year. And we'll get you on the show, and we'll do it this way, which is much better.
It is. That's why people love your show. I mean, that's why I love your show. Everything's just natural. So I definitely feel honored. We feel honored that we had an opportunity to be on the show. Yeah, because I'm always watching your videos. I always check up, and so now I can say I've been a part of that.
There you go. Cheers to that. So if you want, and it's up to you, if you want to throw something into the Wheel of Wonderfulness for next week, if you want to send out a sampler pack, I will get it into some consumer's mouth.
Okay,
That'd be great.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
I know legally you cannot give a consumer a cigar.
Correct.
Right.
But I can.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly.
So I'm kind of like the pathway to the consumer.
We just send it to you, or you tell us who won, and then we send it out.
I could tell you who won if you want to just send it out, make it easy.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Because what we're gonna do is the only one that won't be in there is the BTC.
Okay.
It's one of those that we prefer the customers to come out and buy because it's 100% Cuban, and everything else. But yeah, we don't have a problem making up.
Wait, whoa.
Yeah.
Back up on this. Now you got me intrigued.
Okay.
What do you mean 100% Cuban? Between you and I.
See, I didn't want to talk about this.
You and I and nobody else.
Yes. So
And Ish.
and
Between
Ish.
Ish.
Right.
Yes.
So Ish and I are one of the few that can actually sell 100% Cuban cigars in the US. And this is how we pulled it off. So what Ish does is he goes to Cuba and he buys it by the ton.
Okay.
All right. Now, here's the thing. What a lot of people don't know is lately Cuba has not been putting their best tobacco in their cigars. So, yeah. So our youngest leaf in our cigars is 3 years old. That's like the youngest leaf. So what happens is we bring it back to the DR. It's rolled there. And we made sure, we checked in with the government and everything on this. And they were like, no, it's fine because it's technically a Dominican cigar.
Yeah, it's a Dominican.
But the filler, the binder, the wrapper was grown and harvested in Cuba. So you have this phenomenal blender. You got Ish and Oscar. You got phenomenal rollers.
Was it fermented in Cuba, or you get the raw leaf and you do the Palones in the Dominican?
A lot of it is actually fermented there because it's just sitting there.
So the U.S. government allows you to buy the product, raw materials from Cuba and incorporated it, because I thought that was still embargoed.
Well, here's the other catch to it. Along with it, because it's rolled in Dominican Republic, since Ish is a Spaniard, Spaniards are allowed to sell.
Sure.
So since we're partners in the BTC line, everything's copacetic and good to go.
All right. So when I review that cigar, I'm going to get you and Ish together.
Okay.
Mano a mano.
All right.
And talk me through what I can say about that without getting you guys locked up.
Got you.
Yeah. This was like, no, I called multiple times. He's like, it's a Cuban binder, a Cuban wrapper, a Cuban filler, rolled in Dominican. And they're like, yeah, Dominican cigar. He goes, okay, I'm going to ask you again because maybe you don't understand my accent. It's a Cuban wrapper, a Cuban binder, a Cuban filler, rolled in Dominican. She's like, it's a Dominican cigar. And he's like, okay, great. Because the whole thing with the BTC was me trying to maximize search engine optimization on our website. And I'm like, Cuban, Cuban, Cuban. It's all Cuban. Tell me what I'm missing when it comes to the cigar journey. Everybody is about the Cuban. What's better? Go. So I yelled out BTC one day, and I'm like, BTC, that's the name of it. Better than Cuban. Let's find a cigar that goes with that. And then we went to Ish.
Yeah.
And Ish is the man.
Yeah.
And he was like, oh, I have it. I make it myself. I smoke them here. And I'm like, oh, this is BTC. He goes, yeah. And I go, no, Ish, we're putting a band on this. This is BTC. He goes, yeah. And I go, we're partners. This is BTC. And he goes, yes, let's do it.
Yeah.
So that's how BTC was born.
Yeah.
And now you got me intrigued.
Yes, you're gonna love it.
So, when you smoke that one, I want your feedback directly from you first.
Yeah, I will.
Because we are coming up, because we are going to do another one that's, like I said, is a combination between Ish and I.
Yeah.
And anything that comes from us combined together, there's going to be you're going to notice it, because we're going to keep that black and gold coloring on our bands, showing that it's both of us. But we're actually, they want to say this online either, but we're actually going to do one where we're kind of sticking with Caribbeans. We want to do something that represents the Caribbean islands, with some Haitian tobacco, Jamaican, Dominican. And what we're going to do with the Cuban that will be in it is it's going to be Cuban tobacco that's grown in Brazil.
Okay.
So that way our BTC can be that pure Cuban, and the Cuban inside this other one we're getting ready to create is for that. So we're excited about that one too.
Wow.
Yeah.
I love this journey you're on. This is, and you got the right partner, because
definitely. The man, let me tell you, when I came in, there were so many other people in this circle of ours that was starting cigars. Their first mistake, they didn't listen to his advice. They never, because here's the thing, you go to Ish and you tell him, I want a cigar. If you give him this roundabout thing, he'll go, okay. He knows it's not going to be all that great, but if that's how you want it, fine. But if you listen to what he tells you, you're going to make changes. Like one of the cigars, I think it was, actually it was my very first one, the Strength and Respect. I originally wanted some more coffee, a little bit of coffee in it. And he said, well, the Dominican soil has a lot of cocoa in it. You may want to bring in the cocoa. And he says, and he started describing what leaf he would use to really get that cocoa/coffee taste. And I did the smart thing. I listened to the master and went, okay, because if I kept demanding the coffee, he would go, okay, fine, I'll put that in there.
Yeah.
Right. And my cigar wouldn't taste the way it tastes now. But he did it because when I described to him what I wanted on my tongue, he created it. And I'm like, dude, you're a genius. That's exactly what I visualized in my head. Yeah. And a lot of people don't listen to Ish, which is sad. It's like, dude, you don't know what you're turning away.
Like the best part about this whole journey was that if it ended today, Ish is a friend.
Yeah.
Like he is like he's like a friend. Like he's literally our friend.
Yeah.
And that is the best part, honestly. Between him and his wife, they are
awesome.
It's so hard to find like couple friends, and I think they're it. Like they are just a fantastic couple, and they're just friends. Like we just went down there, was it last weekend for his mother-in-law's 78th birthday, and she is a trip and a half.
She's awesome.
But he's the man. He's just a genuine person.
Yeah.
So I'll share with you as well, since we were talking about that. So this is my raw stuff on the this is on the Strength and Respect.
Okay.
All right. So little pepper to start. It's got some walnut that came in with this natural sweetness. Got dark chocolate nuances came in.
Yep.
There was a coffee and cream that kind of rounded out.
Mm-hmm.
I got a little woody aroma. There was some earthy notes. Did need a little touch up, unfortunately.
Okay.
There was a sour fruit note. Now, this is not a bad note. Okay?
Right.
So when I talk to people, I say if there's sour,
Mhm.
and then there's sour fruit.
Right.
And it's almost like, you know, that cherry note, that
Yep.
that Bing cherry, you know, kind of note. But it wasn't cherry, so I'm still trying to figure out in my head what I was tasting. But it had that note, and then you had some spice that build up and down to the final. So
Right.
yes, you mentioned chocolate. I was like,
Yep.
going, yeah, that's exactly what I was getting out of that.
Yeah.
And it wasn't in your face chocolate. All
Right.
right.
Exactly.
Sometimes the dark chocolate, and I distinguish obviously between dark chocolate and regular chocolate.
Yeah.
And cocoa powder. Cocoa powder is dry, with a cocoa note to it.
Mhm.
But then there's the chocolate, which can be more like a milk chocolate.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to break down those levels, but then there's the dark chocolate.
Yeah.
Then and I'm a dark chocolate fiend, right?
Okay.
You know, if I go to the store and I want to get some dark chocolate, I'm getting like 80%, 85% dark chocolate. All right. Because I just love it. But it's got that bitter note to it, right? But that's a good bitter, right? You still on? Did I lose you?
If I made a cigar
Yeah.
just for me, it's going to be the darkest of Maduros. It's going to be that thing that puts hair on your face. It's done. You know what I mean? So I wanted to bring something that was a little bit down, but
Right.
still give me that full flavor. And that's where that baby comes in. I noticed you had it as a Gordo. It's actually a Toro.
Yeah, I was trying to figure it out because on the site I thought it said Gordo.
He originally did have it in a Gordo.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I said that this doesn't seem like a Toro Gordo, or it's.
Yeah.
But so I'm glad I'm talking to you. So that's a Toro.
Yeah, because we updated it just recently
Yeah.
because we originally did come out as a Gordo. And I decided to make it a Toro down the end and use the Gordo as like an anniversary. So we're thinking for the 2-year anniversary, at latest the 3-year anniversary, we're going to do a box set of the Gordos of the Strength and Respect.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So I
So,
kept all
I'm
the
still
Gordos for
good.
me.
So I'm still good on the San Andreas wrap with the Corojo binder and by the
yeah.
way, it's Lejero.
Everything's
Say
the
it
same.
again. Say it with me.
Yeah.
Lejero.
Hero.
Lejero.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
You don't necessarily have to roll the R heavy like they do, but don't go into a shop and tell anybody it's got Ligero in it, because they're gonna tell you where the exit is.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. That's a dead nuts newbie thing. You
It
don't
is.
want to do that.
And here's the thing, I know better and I still slip up.
Just
Yeah.
get it in your head.
I know.
Go
I
to
know.
sleep at night with a headset on. Go to Lejero.
Yeah. Because I know better. That's the reason why it's worse that I do it sometimes still.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're good. We're good with all of that. So I'll reach out with you, and if there's any other questions I have on that one, I'll definitely let you know.
Sounds good.
Yeah, looking forward to the rest of them, and definitely the BTC. You got me peaked now. So
yeah. And what's the name of the lounge you were telling me about again? I want to Underground.
Oh, it's the Underground Cigar Lounge. You talk to Don Wiggins.
Don Wiggins.
You can find him on Facebook. Okay, he's
I'm
always
already on it. In my head, I'm already on it.
Okay.
And he's very responsive. You get into his lounge. The cool thing about his lounge, if he brings your line in, every year, and I think it's in February. I'm not sure. I got to look at the date. Maybe March. He runs an event called NFG. So it'll be. We just had NFG 22 to be NFG 23. NFG stands for no fucks given.
Okay.
The characters that are in this lounge are that character of people.
Nice.
They don't give a hell what you think. They're just going to say what they want. You go on his page, you go to his underground page, and you'll just see these craziest things. And he is a huge fan of another old age moment here. The famous comedy actor in the golf game. He was playing golf and a thing, and
Rodney Dangerfield?
No, but in the same genre.
Was it the movie Caddyshack though?
Was he in Caddyshack? He
I'm
might have.
thinking
No,
Bald.
no. Hold on. It's God. Why do I draw these
Bill Murray?
blanks? Bill Murray.
Bill Murray.
Thank you.
She
I
got it.
know random stuff.
You get the Cupid doll.
But I know random stuff.
So he's this big fan
Okay.
of Bill Murray, and when you walk into his lounge, he's got paintings of Bill Murray.
Oh wow.
Different, but dressed like he has a Bill Murray they put out that look, kind of like Napoleon and a Bill
Right.
Murray. He has all these
Oh,
weird
that's
things.
That's cool. I like
But he has a bounty on Bill Murray's head. Legit bounty. All right. And
Really?
I think it's up to like over $10,000, maybe $15,000. If you can get Bill Murray
Okay.
to come to his lounge,
Oh,
you get to claim the bounty, and you could take
challenge
it.
accepted.
You could take it in cash, or you could take it and donate it to a charity, and he'll
Right.
donate with you.
Okay.
Oh,
He's looking for somebody who can bring Bill Murray into his lounge, and he's been
Okay.
doing it for 10 years, wanting to get.
Okay.
Bill Murray.
I'm all about a challenge.
Yeah. She's the challenge chick. She'll take it.
So if you're able to get into his lounge, and then you're able to do that, you're gonna move to the top of the heap.
It's on. Okay.
But the thing is, if you get into it, you go to this thing called NFG, and he has an event every year where he features, he has a big tent in the back, and he
Okay.
sets it all up, where he brings in all his different brand owners in, and it's a 2-day event. The first day is a big party, and they have a tremendous roast every year.
Nice.
So there's always an MC on the roast, and they roast different brand owners and stuff.
Okay.
It's hilarious what they do. I mean,
I would love that. Yeah. That sounds awesome.
right? The ball breaking that goes on is beyond anything I
Oh,
lived
wow.
in.
Okay.
I've always wanted to be roasted.
Yep. They're they're good at that. And then the second day, they set up all the tables, and people come in and they go around, they buy boxes and whatever. He sells tons of stuff at these things. People walk out with like stacks and stacks of
Oh
boxes.
wow.
Okay, they're his clientele supports that whole boutique line of cigars.
Nice.
All right. Well, we'll definitely be reaching out to
Yeah.
him. Like, today's Saturday, next week, definitely.
Sure.
Definitely
it out.
appreciate that.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And I'm
So-
surprised. I don't know if Ish is in there or not. You got to ask him.
I will. I will. Because like wherever I go, I always bring it to Ish too. I mean, there's no way I could keep growing and not share that with Ish, because Ish has shared so much with us.
Of course.
You know what I mean? I can't. Yeah.
I know he's offered, like, we wanted to do the event in Miami in February, and then when his wife found out about me needing surgery, they jumped in. They were like, if you need us to man the tent,
Yeah.
we'll come down. We're with you. Let's do this.
Yeah.
So that meant a lot, because who would do that? And
Yeah.
they were like, no, we'll come down there. She's like, you don't have to do anything. Just be there. You can take payments. We'll do all the heavy lifting.
Yeah.
We'll take care of it. So
No, you have a really, this is getting floral right now.
Yeah.
Right
Yeah.
down at the end of the nub. It's just the whole thing, the whole profile just kind of evolved and just
Yeah.
kind of did this little shift.
So you're taking the whole journey. That's what I like.
And oh, by the way, this is like the fourth cigar of the day. So
Oh yeah, I do
I
like.
tell people when they tell me, like, like I'm one of those people that I can go to like PCA or TPE. I
Right.
can spend 8 hours walking the floor. I could be smoking cigars all day, come to a table at like 3:00 in the afternoon, fire up that cigar.
Yep.
And I pretty much, get close, if not nailing the profile.
Right.
And they're like, how do you do that? And
Yeah.
I'm like, a little water in between, a little food, cleanse the palate,
Yep.
eat a piece of dark chocolate, or
Yeah.
better still, the best thing to cleanse you want a palate cleanser, which is
Yeah.
mind blowing. Take an unsalted saltine cracker.
Okay.
Huh.
Okay.
Unsalted saltine cracker, put it in your mouth and let it dissolve. Don't chew it. Let it
Okay.
dissolve like a host on your tongue. Just let it dissolve.
You got to get
All
that.
right.
yeah, absolutely.
Unsalted saltine. I know it's an oxymoron.
I know.
Yeah.
But then take like filtered water. Don't.
Okay.
take chlorinated water, take filtered water, swish it around, swallow it, and just do this around your gums.
Okay.
All right. Then smoke a cigar again. Your palate, the baking soda in the cracker,
Right.
set your palate to a pH of 7, which is
Wow. Going to the
Okay.
store tomorrow.
and it cleanses it. So the next time you smoke a cigar, it's like starting on a fresh palate.
Right.
And then
Okay.
I tell people the other thing when I watch people smoke cigars and they don't understand how I'm discerning these notes.
Right.
You watch people smoke a cigar, they do this.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. You've been watching me smoke the cigar.
Yep.
I'm doing this.
You're holding
You
it.
gotta hold it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then you run your tongue. So what happens is, and if you really want to do it right, you take it in, you press it to your cheeks,
Okay.
kind of like you would do wine,
Right.
same thing. And then you blow it out and then rub your cheeks and your gums a little with your tongue.
Okay.
And then do this. Breathe in a little air, and that activates the flavor molecules that are resting on your palate.
Okay.
And boom, you start tasting things.
There you go.
Starting the next smoke I do, which should probably be in an hour.
Yep.
Tomorrow, and I'm getting unsalted saltine.
Get those unsalted salty. I have a whole box here. I always have them around.
Okay.
It's,
Very
to
cool.
me, I read it in a book. This book I have the book here. Here it is. Hold on. This is a great book. If you find it, it's called Cigar Bliss.
Okay.
All right. It's the Demystifying the Art of Taste by a guy named Nick Kutro. Now, Nick Kutro is the guy that invented the I guess he invented it, but instead of using the wooden presses, he's the one who
Right.
created the plastic presses.
Okay.
Okay. Anyway, he was pretty big in the cigar industry. And this whole thing is the science of taste. All right.
That's what I've been looking for. I've been looking for a book that could really advance my knowledge in that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. This is a great book. You could just look it up. It's called Cigar Bliss.
I already did. I got it.
Right.
tomorrow.
And this book goes through everything you could possibly imagine. It brings in, he actually has at the end of this, it's kind of a semi-marketing book for him too, because
Right.
he has a system, which is, I don't know if find it in here, but he has this system where you can buy, and I've thought about doing this, maybe when I retire and I have more time, where you have this, where the hell is it? It's basically these little bottles of
Okay.
aromas, and you go in and it trains your palate, okay, to discern different things. Because I always tell people, if you really want to understand what you're tasting, you
Right.
might want to go in your spice cabinet and smell everything in your spice cabinet one by one.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It-
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Taste different, different confectionaries, different things, and just train that palate to know what it is you're tasting.
Right.
You know?
Right.
I'm not going to get into Fruity Pebbles and shit like that, but that's Half Wheel's game. So we'll let them deal with that, But if you're dealing with, because if I go in, my list of flavor notes as I grow my reviews,
Right.
the flavor note piece is a setup on my site where I just go in on a form and I just check the box, right? And it pops
Right.
up on that top there. It tells you all
Yeah.
the flavor notes.
Right.
And it started like this, and now it's
Okay.
like this.
Right.
As I pick up a flavor, it's like, well, that's not on my flavor notes. Oh, go add that. And then,
Yeah.
add that.
Right. Right.
So I go back and I look at all these different flavor notes that I have picked up on cigars, and it's
Okay.
pretty amazing.
Wow.
Nice. You gave me,
Pretty
yeah,
cool.
that's good information because I already know we're gonna jump on that tomorrow.
Yeah.
There you go.
I smoke about 4 a day myself,
Yeah, about
know,
the same.
and I kind of guess I go with the old school methods and everything else. And I've even said to myself, there's got to be a better way of doing it. So boom, there we go.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't leave any aftertaste. You know, I mean, I've done lemon water. That works.
Yeah.
You know, dark chocolate works too.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've got
Dark
a
chocolate.
dark
I
chocolate.
actually have the other thing to do is, where the hell is it? Oh, my bag. Where'd it go? I don't have it here. Shit. Oh, I must have brought it in the house. I have a bag of coffee beans.
Okay.
And what you do with the coffee beans is sometimes between cigars, because our nasals get messed up.
Yeah.
You take
Yeah.
those coffee beans, you open up that bag of coffee beans, stick
Yeah.
your nose in there. Just
I do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
and
definitely
it
do.
just cleans it out.
Yeah.
It's crazy how that works.
It does. It does work. I do that on a regular. But something else, because off the record kind of thing, we're also working on a coffee with the like, I'm thinking of using Strength and Respect, but not 100%, with the cigar tobacco in it.
I was about to ask you if you're going down that path, because that would
Yeah.
be an ish kind of
Yeah,
crazy.
that started with I was like, can we make a coffee filter that's made out of like a tobacco leaf kind of thing?
Whoa.
And then again, there we go down to ish. And it's just like, no, but you know what we can do?
Yeah.
Oh, the tobacco so you're getting a nicotine caffeine thing going on.
Yeah.
So we've been
Yeah.
playing with that too.
Yeah. I'm still working out the right measurements and everything else. So hopefully next year that will be something that we can present to the public.
I would think, going back to your other comment though, I would think that if you took the stems,
Mhm.
even the stalk, maybe. I mean, it's a
Right.
it's a plant, it's woody.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Take that, turn it into pulp and make paper out of it.
Right.
Could
That's
you?
why I was kind of going with like
Yeah.
the actual filter.
Yeah, that would.
Ish one upped us, and he was like, "No, you don't want to do that. You want to do this."
Yeah.
And
Okay.
we were like, "Okay."
Because he said
do
what
it."
would happen is that the filters would be too expensive. It'd be expensive.
Yeah.
And so it was like, okay. He says, because you could do it, but he said it'd be too pricey. So we're going to cut out the middleman, put the tobacco in the coffee so you get your nicotine and your caffeine hit all at the same time.
You
And I
always
want
just
to make
take
sure we get,
tinctures.
yeah. You don't want to put too much so they got the jitters, but you want to put enough where they can taste it.
Right.
So that's what I'll be spending the next 2 weeks working on.
Well, good luck with that.
Yeah.
All right,
Thank you,
guys.
thank you.
It was
All
a
right.
pleasure. I'll talk
Same
to you
here.
later. I'll let you know next week who wins. And
All right.
all right, man.
We got you.
Have a
All
good
right.
evening.
You have a good one.
All right,
Good night.
bye.
Bye.